All right, let's talk about two of the trickiest future tenses out there, future perfect and future perfect continuous. Yeah, I know, they sound kind of complicated, maybe even a little scary, but stick with me, because by the end of this, I promise you're going to feel way more confident using them.
So let's jump right in with a question for you. By the time this whole thing is over, what will you have learned? Did you catch that? We just used the future perfect tense right there. It's all about looking forward to something that will be finished, which is, well, it's exactly what we're about to do.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with how to build them, then get to know what I like to call the planner and the endurance tenses. After that, we'll put them head to head. I'll share one rule you absolutely can't break, and then we'll wrap up with a little challenge. Sound good? Let's do this. All right, first up, the face-off. Let's break down how you actually put these tenses together. Getting the basic recipe down is pretty much half the battle. Okay, so check this out. They both start off exactly the same. You take your subject and you add will have. Easy enough, right? But here's the fork in the road. For the future perfect, you follow that up with the past particle. Words like eaten, played, finished. But for the future perfect continuous, you toss in been and then the verb's ing form, like eating, playing, finishing. It seems like a tiny change, but trust me, it completely changes what you're trying to say. All right, let's zoom in on our first contestant, the future perfect. I call this one the planner tense, and for good reason. It's all about getting things done by a specific deadline in the future. So here's its main job. The future perfect tells you that an action is going to be totally finished before a certain point in the future. The key word here is completed. It's all about that finish line. Let's make this visual. Imagine it's right now, and you're thinking about your evening. You could say, I will have eaten dinner by 7 p.m. What does that actually mean? It means the act of eating. It's done, it's finished, it's over before 7 o'clock hits. 7 is the deadline, but the action is already in the past from that future perspective. So this is the big question you should always ask yourself. Why does it matter that this thing is finished? It's about context. Like, if a friend wants to call you at 7, you can say, sure, we will have finished dinner by then. See? The fact that dinner is done is what makes the call possible. That's the real power of this tense. It connects two future events. And hey, keep an eye out for these little signal phrases. Anytime you see words like by 7 p.m., by next week, or especially the phrase by the time, it's a huge clue you're probably dealing with the future perfect. For instance, the movie will have started by the time we get there. Okay, time to switch gears and look at our second contender, the future perfect continuous. And I call this one the endurance tense, because here we're not focused on the finish line anymore. It's all about how long the race has been going. Basically, this tense is like a time-traveling measuring tape. You zip forward to a point in the future, look back, and measure how long something has been happening up to that point. The focus isn't on finishing, it's on the journey, the duration. This visual really helps. You plant a flag at some point in the future, let's say tonight. Then you look backward and say, wow, how long has this been going on? Will the action keep going after tonight? Maybe. Will it stop? Maybe. Who cares? That's not what this tense is about. The duration is the star of the show here. And just like before, there's a key question to ask. Why are we talking about the duration? Why is it a big deal? Usually, you use this tense to emphasize something impressive. You want to show off the commitment, the hard work, the sheer length of time something has been happening. So, the clues for this tense are all about measuring time. Look for phrases like for 2 hours, all morning, for 10 years. Think about coming home after a long day and saying, by the time I finish, I will have been staring at this screen for 8 straight hours. You're emphasizing just how long and grueling it's been. Okay, we've met both players, now for the main event. Let's put them side by side. This is where it's all gonna click. So let's boil it all down. The future perfect is obsessed with the result. It's about the task is done. The future perfect continuous, though, it's all about the process. It's saying, wow, look how long this has been going on. One is the trophy at the finish line, the other is the story of the entire marathon. And this marathon example drives it home perfectly. If you say, I will have run the marathon by then, you're talking about a single completed event. The race is over, you did it. But if you say, by next year, I will have been running for 6 years, you're not talking about one race. You're talking about a hobby, a passion, a 6-year journey. See the massive difference in meaning? Okay, I've got one last super important tip for you. This is a rule you just can't break, and it'll help you avoid a really common error. It's all about something called stative verbs. So, what the heck are stative verbs? Well, in short, they describe states of being, not acts of doing. They're about things that just are. Think about feelings, thoughts, ownership, things that don't really have a start and a finish like an action does. Here are a few of the most common ones. Verbs like know, love, own, understand. I mean, think about it. You don't actively do the action of knowing something, right? You just know it. It's a state. Same with owning a car. You own it. You aren't owning it minute by minute. And here it is, the big rule. You just can't use these stative verbs with continuous tenses, ever. That includes our future perfect continuous. It just sounds wrong, because how can you measure the duration of a state? So you would never say, by next year I will have been knowing her for a decade. Nope. You have to switch back to the future perfect and say, by next year I will have known her for a decade. It's a simple fix, but it's absolutely crucial. All right. We've covered the formulas, the meanings, how they compare, and the one golden rule. Now, it's your turn to make it real. So I'll leave you with this to think about. By this time next year, what's something you will have been doing for a long time? A hobby? A job? Learning a new skill? Really think about it, because applying it to your own life is seriously the best way to make this stuff stick. Thanks so much for tuning in.